Hi guys. This costume is actually a milk cow. I believe they're called Holsteins, if I'm not mistaken. So let me show you the costume for today. So I'm a milk cow. I've got udders. I've got, yeah, I am a cow. Moo. All right. So today for our meeting, we're going to talk about body paragraphs again, and we're going to practice writing some complete sentences using dependent word fragments. So let me try and share my PowerPoint with you, and then I will talk about it as I share it. All right, so here's our first PowerPoint. Now, both these PowerPoints will be in Google Classroom for you to look at again, but let's go through them together. So first we have common dependent words. I'm not going to read them all to you because I feel you can actually go through all of them, but I'll give you a couple at the beginning: after, although, though, as, because, before, even though, how, and if. So all these are a list of something called common dependent, they're dependent words. So let's go on to slide number 3. A dependent statement on starting with a word like after. So when you start a sentence with a word like after, it cannot stand alone. It depends on another statement to complete the thought. So, excuse me. Let me give you an example. Right there it says, after I stopped drinking coffee is a dependent statement. It leaves the reader hanging. So right there, you cannot have, that's not a complete sentence. You need more to that. So let's go on to see how we can fix that. We expect in the same sentence to find out what happened after the writer stopped drinking coffee. Simply follow through and complete the thought. After I stopped drinking coffee, I began sleeping better at night. And you could do different things though. After I stopped drinking coffee, I started drinking tea. After I stopped drinking coffee, I stopped getting very nervous and shaky. There's a lot of different ways you could end that sentence. That's just one example. So the point of this is when you use words, these dependent words, you have to explain. So you can't just say, after I stopped drinking coffee. So let's go on to a few more examples. Examples on how to fix fragment sentences that dependent word fragments. Okay, so fragment. While waiting to have his wisdom tooth pulled. That is a fragment. That's not a complete thought. So Brian sat nervously in the dental clinic while waiting to have his wisdom tooth pulled. Or Brian sat nervously in the dental clinic while waiting to find out if he was going to need his wisdom tooth pulled. So there are different ways to end these sentences, but what they want you to understand is these dependent words. Let's go ahead and go back. Like, while, actually they don't even put that one in there. Oh yes, it is right there. While needs to have another part to explain. So now we have another fragment that had accumulated for years in the basement. This is not a complete sentence. It's not a complete thought. It's the problem. So let's look at our complete thought. During the pandemic, Maria decided to throw away the boxes that accumulated for years in the basement. During the pandemic, Maria decided to give away the boxes that accumulated for years in the basement. During the pandemic, Maria decided to look through the boxes that had accumulated for years in the basement. So basically, we just need a complete thought. And these are the items I want you to practice in the assignment. There are 5 sentences that give you some dependent word fragment pieces. And then I want you to write 3 sentences of your own using these words and making it a complete thought. Okay, so that's your first PowerPoint. And again, that PowerPoint is in there. I just noticed I made a couple of errors. I apologize. Now let's go to our next one. For some reason it's not up here. So let's go to So the other one is about writing your body paragraphs, which I was going through, and I did not. No, I don't want to start a new meeting. Okay, hold on. Let me move myself really quick. I can go to classroom. Okay, so I did a Google slide. Hopefully this can help you with your body paragraph. That's the plan anyway. Just give me a second. It's coming up. Okay, so here's the next thing I want you guys to see. Move myself back over here. So you know, it's body paragraph for argumentative essay. So your first paragraph was an introduction essay. It should have had a hook. It should have had information on the topic you chose. It also should have had a thesis statement. All these things are what they're required in that. So now let's go to the body paragraph. So your body paragraph is going to need a topic sentence, okay? The topic sentence of your body paragraph must be supportive of your thesis statement. So let's look at the example I have here for you. The point or the thesis statement of this essay this person was going to write was starting college at age 29 was difficult. That's their point. So I made it into, so basically that was the point. That would have been the thesis statement. Your thesis statement should be a little stronger. But that was a thesis statement for this actual essay, the point. So reason number one, body paragraph one, and topic sentence, okay? There was little support from parents and friends when I started college at that late age. So that would be the topic sentence that supports this thesis statement. Starting at college at age 29 was difficult. Now let's go on to 3. Details that develop the reason. So we've got our reason, 1, our topic sentence, our supporting reason, which was from the previous page. There was little support from parents and friends starting college at that late age. And let's remember that reason supports our point, our thesis statement. Starting college at age 29 was difficult. Now we need to go on to have details that develop reason number 1. You just don't have a sentence. That's not a paragraph. So one of the reasons that he's going to expound on in this essay is father asked why I wanted to be dumped on again. Mother worried about the tuition and friends seemed threatened. Now I should, that actually are all the things he's going to talk about in, oh, you know what? No. Father asked why I wanted to be dumped on again. Okay, mother worried about the tuition money and friends seemed threatened. So these are things they're going to talk about in the first paragraph. But he's going to need to expound on each one of these things. Expounds means tell a little bit more about it. So let's go on to see what we can find about expounding on the details. Detail. Father asked why I wanted to be dumped on again. So let's look at this. Expounding. He went on to remind me of an incident that happened to me in 7th grade. My writing skills were not on grade level at that point in my life. There were various reasons for this, some of my fault and some not. Due to scheduling difficulties, I got placed in an honors writing class. This meant my writing went from merely bad to pathetic in comparison to my classmates. One day, my teacher read a paragraph of mine as an example of what not to do. She never mentioned my name, but my lack of skills had already become common knowledge in this period. I was utterly humiliated and ditched class for the next month. Needless to say, I failed that class miserably. So right here, the detail that is supporting our topic sentence, father asked why I wanted to be dumped on again. And let's remember our topic sentence was, there was little support from parents and friends when I started college at that late age. Now, so this is what I mean by expounding. He explained what incident his father was talking about. So that's what was explained here. So he would go on to also explain when his mom asked about the tuition money and why he thinks his friends seem threatened. And that would then be a full paragraph supporting his point. Okay, now, the last thing. The expounding was an example of pathos, the appeal to emotion. So let's not forget, we talked about pathos, ethos, and logos. So each one of your body paragraphs needs to use one of those rhetorical skills. And it was a personalized story, therefore I required no source proof. Ethos, remember again, is using a quote or information from a trusted person on the topic. An example would be Fauci, the guy who we've been hearing a lot from during this pandemic. Logos, using statistics, facts, and data. Constantly on a daily basis, we're hearing how many people got diagnosed during this pandemic, how many people have died during this pandemic. So that would be using statistics, facts, and data, if that's for something you were writing about, just to give an example. Now, all of your details require a source. So let's say, for example, you actually wrote about the number of people who have died in this pandemic today versus last Wednesday in California. I would need to know where you got that data. So an example might be the LA Times. So after you use those facts or data, you need to put this in there telling me where you got the information. Now write this way in your essay. Now for the bibliography, where you actually put all your sources, you can actually put the full link so the person can link to it and read it themselves. Now you may put a personalized story in the closing paragraph that if it does actually connect to your thesis statement. So I'm hoping this will help you a little bit more to write a body paragraph for an argumentative essay. I feel this maybe breaks it down a little bit stronger for you. Again, tomorrow we have our meeting from 2 to 3 if you have any questions on any of these items. Oh, and one last thing that you are supposed to do. So I'm actually reading Macbeth to you. I'm going to read, so it's from this book called Shakespeare, a favorite tales from Shakespeare. So I'm not reading it as the actual play. I'm just reading the story. So I just want you to see. Now I have already read part of it to you. I'm going to keep reading parts to you. There are 2 questions about what I've read to you. I just want you to answer them in complete sentences. I just want to know name 4 characters that I've mentioned in my reading of it. And I also want you to tell me what the setting is. So we did actually talk a little bit about this before we left school, and that's what I'd like you to do. So I already read you, like I said, part 1. We're reading you part 2 this week sometime, and I'll upload it. I don't know if I uploaded part 1 yet. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you guys all tomorrow at the meeting. At least check in, even if you don't have any questions, you feel you're on top of everything, please just check in and say hi, because if you remember, I do have a section that includes participation, and showing up to these is basically now our participation. All right, so I hope you guys have a good night, and I'm going to now finish this.